It all started in a night when suddenly lighting starts to strike some buildings. Monster starts to come from the buildings that got hit by the lighting and starts to kill the humans. This phenomena occur all around the world at the same time. Every building that was struck by the unexplained lightning transformed into a den of monsters that attacked people. The transformed buildings became known as dungeons. To collect more information about the current situation, each country dispatched armed forces. But conventional weapons weren't effective against monsters, and even the militaries were forced to withdraw. Humanity is on the verge of destruction. However, appearing in front of the humanity that had lost all hope was the Awakeners, who could make use of items called gate cards. It's hypothesized that these gate cards were developed in secret after the dungeon phenomenon appeared. The Awakeners who held the ability to use the cards that suited them appeared one after another. So humanity obtained a method to counter the dungeons, and the Awakeners became an existence everyone admired. Soon, companies that scouted Awakeners and whose business was clearing dungeons appeared. In this world destroyed by dungeonization, the Awakeners' unknown rewards transformed into an elite occupation that gained vast rewards. Our MC's name is Okita Hikaru, who is an Awakener who has been in a company for 3 years, aiming to get a job in clearing dungeons. His father was killed by a monster that appeared in a dungeon. He was taking care of his sick mother and his little sister. As he was at a loss, so he bet everything into taking an aptitude exam for Awakeners. As he did the test, he passed it, but he has the lowest of the lowest rank. He managed to become an Awakener with the lowest score in history. Obviously, no company would ever hire an Awakener with such a low rank. So doing countless part-time jobs, he could barely manage to fend for himself day after day. But one day his luck turns good. Clearwater Inc., a large corporation that cleared dungeons one after another, was recruiting Awakeners. Okita Hikaru applied there, and luckily, he got recruited as a Awakener. Its first day of work as an Awakener has come. Okita Hikaru is very excited, but at the same time, he feels a little bit uneasy thinking about the unexpected dangers. In the first, the Okita Hikaru and some higher-level Awakener were assigned to raid a C-rank dungeon. The dungeon is in a building which was, previously, a pharmaceutical company. Okita Hikaru and his team has come to the 9th level of the dungeon. While they were searching for any monster activity, suddenly some goblins, which are F-rank monster, ambushed the low-ranked members like Okita Hikaru and starts to kill them. After that, a higher-level Awakener named Noguchi killed all of the goblins and starts to shout at the low-ranked members that why are they not stopping the monster with their life on the line as they are paid to do so. At that time, the team leader stopped him and asked for a status report. In the meanwhile, Okita Hikaru pulls the low-ranked member from the ground. By seeing the injured members, Okita Hikaru tells the leader that they should retreat and get medical treatments, or else the injured ones will be dead. The leader and the other higher-level Awakener told that it's over for them and also told to leave them. But Okita Hikaru was not going to leave them injured, so as he was going to use a healing gate card, the leader stops him saying that not to waste his mana. He also says that using cards without being ordered to do so is a breach of public service regulations. He will be punished for this. Okita Hikaru understands it, and he leaves them with a sorry face. The team assembled to conquer the dungeon this time is made up of an elite Awakener team centered around A-rank members, and low-ranked Awakeners, including him who don't have much power as Awakeners. They were just pieces for elite Awakeners to use and throw away. As Okita Hikaru was walking, he requests Noguchi to give the low-ranked members a gun. Noguchi gets angry and grabs his collar and said that he should not be cocky and use the equipments he was given. Other than powerful gate cards, elite Awakeners are also equipped with cutting-edge firearms developed to use against monsters. However, to use the precious mana stones obtained from monsters in the bullets, low rank Awakeners didn't get to use it. They can only get self-defense items that are barely better than some shabby equipments. Furthermore, compared to the elites who have expensive custom-made suits stitched with special threads for defense, the low-rank members wear pre-made suits that isn't sufficient to protect their lives in a dungeon. As the one with the lowest rank in history, Okita Hikaru get treated the worst among the low-ranked members. He is useless in battle, and they won't let him contribute, so he is in charge of miscellaneous duties like being a porter. After some walking, they all have reached the 10th floor. Okita Hikaru starts to check the radar for monsters. He saw that in group of goblins were coming in front of them, so he tells all the members about this. After hearing and seeing the goblins coming from the front, the leader told the other to take their positions and ordered them to kill the front goblins with their guns and to save the gate cards for later. The members hear their leader's words and acts accordingly. They started to kill all the goblins that were rushing towards them with guns, but one goblins get past them and head towards Okita. The girl told Okita to be careful. He takes a stun rod, and as the goblin comes in front to him, he swings the rod, but the goblin dodged it and throw him on the ground with a single slap. As the goblin is going to kill him, the lady shots the goblin and saves his life. The lady insults Okita Hikaru that a mere goblin has made him in this state. He is good for nothing, and how lucky of him that he gets paid just working like this. Okita Hikaru gets angry and could do nothing. He thinks that could have done much better if only he had a stronger weapon, or if only his gate card had a higher rank. In the meanwhile, the rest of the elite members has finished executing the monsters. This time, they have got some mana stone. Once anybody defeat a monster, they can obtain the crystallized form of the mana they hold, known as mana stones. If anybody seal a rare mana stone dropped from powerful monsters, he can activate its inherent skill. The mana from small mana stones dropped from low-rank monsters like goblins cannot be used for cards or weapons, but to use powerful skills, one requires a lot of mana. That's why mana stones are indispensable to all awakeners, high and low rank included. And mana stones belong to the awakener who defeated the monsters. In other words, an awakener who can't land the finishing blow on a monster has no chance of obtaining mana stones. As the team finished their hunting, the leader told Okita to tell them the way to the upper floor. Okita watches the raider and told them that the next floor is 40 meters ahead of them. He also tells them that the radar also shows 3 monsters coming towards them. Among the 3 monsters, one is a C-rank werelion, and the other 2 were D-rank guard lion. The werelion roars at them, which makes them a little tense. The leader told Okita to tell the details of the werelion. Okita watches the device and tells that it is a magic beast with no special skills, and the firearms is ineffective against it. By hearing this, the leader instructs the members that, as the guard lions has good coordination, so they will be bothersome. So he orders the members to first kill them. The leader then orders the shield group to maintain their positions and to protect the A-rank awakeners from the guard lions' attacks. Noguchi and the lady also said that again, they will be meat shield for the A-rank awakeners. They also told them it's fine if they die, and also threatens them that they will kill them as they break the shield formation. This is the work of the low-ranked members to be a meat shield that protects the elite awakeners from monsters' attack. In the meantime, the werelion team has come closer to the awakeners. Everybody also gets into their positions. As the werelion roars, the 2 guard lions rush to attack the awakeners. The leader orders the shield team to take their gate cards and lure them as close as possible. As the guard lions are coming closer, the low-ranked members gets a bit scared, and as the lions are about to land their attack, the low-ranked members activated their gate card, and a D-rank defensive barrier appears, which can defend against physical damage. The lions attacked the barrier, but couldn't break it. The low-ranked members that were maintaining the barrier cannot handle it for much longer, so they told the elite members to attack the guard lions quickly. By hearing this, Noguchi said that they are trash to get scared from such a puny attack. Noguchi then draw his gate card. Name Inferno Swordsman, which is an A-rank card with a fire attribute. As he activated the card, a huge flame, monkey with a flame sword in his hand appears and attacks one guard lion and burns it to death. The other guard lion was attacking the barrier continuously, but it was soon killed by the lady as she draws her Blade of Tempest Gate card, which is also an A rank card. With a wind attribute, a sea monster arrives with a green sword in its hand, which he used to kill the guard lion. By seeing this, the low-ranked members, along with Okita, starts to praise the two A-rank members. In the meantime, the Lion attacks with its great axe, and from its one swing the barrier and the ground shatters. The low-ranked members also fell on the ground from its impact, and also gets cuts in their body. By seeing this, Okita rushed in front of them and take his stun rod on his hand. As he was going to lure the were-lion away from the injured members, Noguchi comes and kicks on Okita's face and beats him into pile by saying that why he comes rushing forward, his job is to heal the members, not to save them from monsters. Noguchi also furthers insults him that as the weakest of the F rank, he should not try be the hero, as only the A rank awakeners will kill the monsters. By saying this, he again draws his gate card and attacks the were-lion. But this time, his attack did not do much damage to the were-lion. The leader then shouts at the low-ranked members why they are slacking off and orders them to quickly activate the barrier. He also orders Okita to heal all the injured members. By hearing the leader's order, the members along with Okita work accordingly. Okita uses his F-rank healing gate card and heals the injured members. The healed members, along with the others, activated the defensive barrier. But the barrier was no use as it breaks from taking a single hit from the Royal Lion. The lady then uses her Wind Blade Gate card and force the Royal Lion to fall back. The leader draws his card and orders the low-ranked members not to stop expanding the defensive barrier. The members hold on the barrier, and on the other hand, the lady continues her attack with her Wind Blade Gate, and Noguchi also does the same, attacking the Royal Lion with his flame sword. Okita also does his work properly. He heals all the members that gets injured. The two elite members' attack weakens the monster very much. Then the two of them told the leader to unleash his skill and finish it. The leader activates his A-rank gate card. Name Spear of Water, which is a water-type skill. As he activates it, a water man with a spear in its hand appears. It then attacks the were-lion with its spear and kills it, piercing its heart. The were-lion disappears and leaves a rare mana stone, as the mana stone only belongs to the awakener that deals the final blow, so the chance of a low-ranked awakener getting a mana stone is negligible. Because of this system, many low-ranked awakener leave this job on a regular basis. The leader then tells Okita that he see a new light in him as he covers the low-ranked members from the were-lion. The leader then takes an A-rank gate card that they prepared in expectation of this dungeon's boss and gives it to Okita. Okita and the other get shocked from this action of the leader. As Noguchi was trying to stop the leader make him shuts his mouth by saying that Okita risk his life to save the members. Will he be able to perform this action? The leader then tells Okita that this is a powerful card that must be used only to confine giant monsters. He also warns him that not to use this card until he orders him. He also says that to use this card, one has to recite a specific code that is Release, Seal, Unlock. The leaders then takes the potion card and give him this A-rank card in exchange. It's a one-use card that an awakener can only have one of. Also, this is the only card that can defeat the dungeon boss. The leader then walks ahead by saying that he has high expectation from him. Okita gets really happy as this is the one and only chance of him getting out of this weak low rank. Then all of them head towards the entrance of 10th floor. As they enters it, the device rings a caution alert as there is a large monster presence. They look forward and saw a huge dragon, which is likely the boss of the dungeon. By seeing the Gaint monster, which is at least 5 times bigger than the were-lion, everybody was stunned. Everybody was very afraid by seeing this monstrous thing, but the captain spoke up and helps the others to regain their senses. He told the other to continue the battle and advised them not to get in the attack rang of the beast. He asked Okita for the details of the monster. As Okita looked at the device, he couldn't find the details of the monster. Then he starts to find the closest monster attribute that matches with the dungeon boss. He gets that the dungeon boss matches with a basilisk monster. He tells this to the leader. By hearing this, the leader said as basilisk is a poison-type monster, so this boss will also have something similar. He told the members to be careful about its poison, and also said that it has a outer skin which is likely to deflect most of their attacks. He then orders the A-rankers to attack simultaneously, and told the shield team to activate a barrier that is 3 times stronger than before. He also tells Okita to stand back with the trump card in his hand. The monster takes the attack stand and run towards them. The shield team activated the barrier, but it was of no use, and it breaks with a simple slash from the monster. By this time, the 2 elite members along with the leader activate their skill cards. The 3 skill land on the dungeon boss successful, but the boss was unscathed from the triple attack. The boss then attacks with its tail and make the shield team members fly away. By seeing this, Noguchi again attacks the monster with his flame sword skill and was able to make the monster fall back. The leader then orders all the members to withdraw and fall back of the floor entrance. As everybody fall back, the leader told that this is the time that they need Okita's power. The leader asked Okita if he is ready to use the card, as to this card he has to get closer to the monster alone. Okita says that he is ready. By hearing this, the leader smiles and said that he was the one who chose him, and now he thinks that he did the correct thing choosing him. He also said to Okita that he counts on him. The leader then told the others that as Okita approaches the monster, the elite members will support him. As the planning was done, Okita rushes towards the monster, and the members starts their attack, while the 2 elite members were attacking the monster. With their skill card, the shield team members also didn't sit back, and attacks the monster with the mana. Guns, Okita dodged from all the monster's attacks and was able to get closer. He then activated the gate card. The card starts to glow and starts to radiate red light. Okita thinks that the card is working, but suddenly the ground under his feet breaks and he starts to fall. As he falls, he hits the ground. He didn't get any major injury. He gets up and looks at the surroundings. He sees that all the other teammates, he was the only one that fall while everyone is above. He also begs the leader to tell him that's going on. By hearing this, the elite members along with the leader starts to laugh by saying that he actually fell for that. Okita was so confused he was not understanding any things. The leader speaks up and said that the card he gave him was not a attack type. Rather, it is a trap card. Once it is activated, the ground under the feet collapses, trapping the user and the opponent. The leader also says that this is the only strategy to kill the boss monster, as it has a high defense. They cannot defeat it while attacking its outer skin. So the only possible way is to attack the monster mouth when the monster opens its mouth to eat. He also says that he was the one to delete all the information of the dungeon boss from the tablet, so that Okita could not get any idea about the boss, and he will be the meal of the monster. In the meantime, the monster gets up from the rumble and noticed Okita and slashes his back with its big nails. Okita starts to bleed from the wounds he received, but as Okita runs, the monster lost interest in him and looks at the other members. By seeing this, Noguchi activated his flame sword skill and attacks the monster. The flames from the skill also affects Okita, so he requests him to stop his skill. The flame was so intense that the surrounding air gets hotter. As the skill gets over, Noguchi is going to again activate the skill, but the leader stops him as the monster was about to launch its attack. By seeing that the monster is about to attack, Okita gets scared and takes his coat and lay on the ground by covering himself with the coat. As the monster launched the attack didn't get to Okita, rather it gets upwards because of the hot air, to rise up and was about to affect the other members, so they goes away by seeing this. By seeing this, Okita gets behind a rock and thinks as the 10th floor breaks, so they are currently at the 9th floor. He remembers that there is a passage in the 9th floor, so he starts to look for it. After a while of searching, he finds the passage and quickly runs towards it. The monster noticed him and start to walk towards him. He's successful, gets inside the passage, but was very exhausted from the injuries he got. As he walks inside the passage, he comes to know that there is a dead end. He lost all of his hope, but a miracle happens to him when he places his left hand on the wall and a gap opens, and he saw a bright light coming from the other end of the gap, but he didn't know how to open it. In the meantime, the monster breaks the roof of the passage and get its head inside. Okita get hits from the falling ceiling and fells on the ground as the monster was about to launch its breath. Okita spread out his hand for the gap and shouts to open, and lucky the gap opens with the immense bright light. As Okita sees the bright light, he gets transferred into a different place, and as he reached the place, he faints away. After some time, he gets up and was amazed to see that he is still alive. He then looks around and found himself in an unfamiliar white room. He looks around and was shocked to see that the entrance and the dungeon boss is also gone. He then looks on the floor and sees the same pattern on the floor that is on the gate card. At the same time, he also feels that the entire room is filled with dense mana. He sees a bright light that is coming from the center of the room, so he becomes curious and starts to walk towards the light. As he reached there, he saw an altar, and as he placed his hand on the altar, a voice spoke up, but it was in a different language which was unknown for him. After some adjustment, the voice starts to spoke up in Japanese and asked if he desire power. By hearing this, Okita remembers about the betrayal he gets from the elite member and gets angry and told the voice to give him all the power it has. After the altar confirms the Okita's word, a blue light surrounds his body and starts to scan his body. As soon as the scan is completed, the wounds in Okita's body starts to heal and his eyesight also gets enhanced. The altar then says that now Okita's card will be exchanged with a higher card, but Okita didn't have any card in his card holder. The Awakener can only have one gate card, but as Okita exchanged his potion card with a one-time use TARP card, so he currently has no card. Okita feels hopeless as he has no card to exchange. But this time his luck shines, and a bug happens in the altar, and the blue color altar starts to turn dark purple and starts to shot purple lightning. As time goes, the purple lightning gets bigger by seeing this. Okita starts to run, but a lightning hits him, and he falls on the ground. After a while, as he gets up, he sees that all the lightning is gone, but the altar has turned into a dark purple color. He goes towards the altar and asked it, where is the card that it will give him? As Okita says this, he feels a shake. From his card holder, he then draw a card. It was a gate card that he has never seen before. As he was looking the card closely, suddenly lots of cards come rushing out from his card holder and stops in front of him floating in the air. He was shocked to see that. But then he thinks that this all happens because of the bug. He thinks maybe all of the cards are trash. So he pulls his hand towards one card and touches it. As soon as he touched the card, a purple lightning hits him and he gets a huge headache. In his head, he gets all the information of all the cards. After he gets all the information, he takes a gate card which has a twin dragon picture drawn on it. He then shouts the card name, Jet Black Twin-Headed Dragon Schwartz Doppeldrash, and activate it. As he activated the card, a huge, twin-headed black appears. By seeing the dragon, he feels that the rank of this card is much higher than an A-rank card. The dragon then launched its attack, which breaks the ground. By seeing this attack, he gets a bit tense and thinks that if all the cards are this powerful, so he picks some cards, such as Magic Bullet Master, Barrett Benodza, Silver Archer, Weissaber Born Schütze, Vortex of Raging Distorted Earth, and activated all of them together. He was amazed to see the destructive power of these cards, so he thinks that whether it is the dungeon boss or the elite members that throw him away, he can defeat all of them. After that, he again tries some of the cards, but catches his eye all the cards he used have power surpassing of an A-rank card. He was eager to use all the cards, but by seeing the destroyed room he gives. He then begins to think, how can he hold so many skill cards, whereas one person can only hold one card? He then remembers that there are also S-rank awakeners, who surpasses the A-ranks also exist. And he heard some rumors that S-rank cards are completely different, but his case can't be described this way as his eyesight and his whole body is also enhanced. As he didn't find any clue, he stops thinking and decides to go out and defeat the dungeon boss. He gets all the cards onto his card holder, but he cannot find an exit. He remembers the way he gets in. He then places his hand on the wall and recite open gate in his mind, and he gets out of the white room. As he gets back to the dungeon, he looks for the boss, but he couldn't find it. He then looks at the wall. He sees his blood on the wall, but there was no gap. He thinks that he has awake from a long dream. So to clear it, he draws a card from the card holder, and fortunately, it was not a dream. And the twin-headed dragon card comes out of the card holder. I see the card in his hand. He gets sure that all the things happened to him was real. So he starts to walk out of the passage. While walking, he heard battle noises and quickly gets there and see that the dungeon boss and the elite members are also present. They were fighting the boss. By seeing this, Okita gets angry. He activated the twin-headed dragon card, and the twin-headed dragon appears in front of the dungeon boss. The party members get shocked by seeing a dragon appeared out of nowhere. In comparison to the dungeon boss, the dragon is a bit larger. Okita then orders the left head to bite the dungeon boss' neck. The dragon does according to Okita's order. The leader and Noguchi get scared to see what is happening. Okita then gives his second order. He told the right head to launch its attack and burn the boss to ash. As the twin-headed dragon launched its attack, the dungeon boss also launched its attack. The two attacks collided, and the dungeon boss attack gets it. Direction changed, and it goes towards the party members. The attack lands on the high ground, where the party members were standing, and the ground breaks, from which the leader, Noguchi, and the other party members starts to fall. As the ground falls, the whole place gets covered with dust smoke. In the meantime, Okita gets down and stands beside the twin-headed dragon. Because of the smoke, he cannot see anything, so he thinks that the dungeon boss is unharmed. So Okita is going to activate his another date card, but as the smoke gets a bit clear, he was shocked to see that the whole neck of the dungeon boss is missing. He was so shocked to see that twin-headed dragon defeated the dungeon boss with just one attack. He praises the dragon for this. While he was praising twin-headed dragon, suddenly a voice spoke up which scared him. He also see that a panel has appeared in front of his face. The voice then said that the dungeon subjugation is completed. Okita recognized the voice. It is the same voice he heard inside the altar. The voice also says that the rank of jet black twin-headed dragon increased, and a title, Master of Dragons, is bestowed upon Okita. Okita was surprised to hear that the rank of a gate card is not fixed, and that a strong card as the jet black twin-headed dragon can get more stronger. He then takes a look at the panel, which he has never seen before. As he look forward, he can see all the items info through the panel. As he was seeing the item among them, he saw the dungeon boss mana stone. So he gets closer to it and takes the mana stone on his hand, and by seeing the panel info, he gets that this is a rare mana stone. He was so happy to touch a rare mana stone for the first time. He then thanks the twin-headed dragon for defeating the dungeon boss and call it back to its card. As he looks forward at the rumble, he can see the status of the party members that fall along with the ground, so he go towards them and found that all of them are unconscious. He then looks at the leader's info and see that his name is Taira Shigeru. He was also fallen unconscious. But after a while, the leader opens his eyes and is shocked to see Okita. He then asked Okita about the dungeon boss, and from where did the twin-headed dragon come from? Okita replies that he killed the dungeon boss. This reply gives a big shock to the leader. Okita then asked him why the hell did he deceive him, and he also gives death glare at him. The leader was sensing immense aura coming from Okita, so he starts to convince Okita that he was trying to deceive him. Rather, it was needed to make someone as a bait to kill the monster. He also says that he want to give Okita a change to get a rare mana, but the words to the leader cannot convince Okita. The leader was afraid if Okita gets out and reports the company that he has been deceived by the leader, the company will arrest him. So the leader makes a plan to make a surprise attack and kill him. He then asked Okita if he get a rare card and also requests him to show it to him. Okita then takes a card and shows him. He then quickly snatches the card from Okita's hand and throw it away and activates his Spear of Water Gate card. But Okita quickly draw out his jet black twin-headed dragon gate card. By seeing this, the leader gets shocked as how he is able to have another gate card. Now the spearman and the twin-headed dragon comes face to face. Okita orders the dragon to tear the enemy, and the dragon tears the spearman in just a few seconds. By seeing this, the leader falls on the ground and is very scared to see the twin-headed dragon beside Okita. Okita then spoke up and said that he will not take his puny life, and also says he will quit the company and the incident that occurs here. He will not report this also. He then starts to walk away by saying, "Thanks for taking care of him." As Okita was going away, the leader gets angry and he takes the gun and shots it. After the leader shoot, the bullet didn't get to Okita, as the twin-headed dragon deflected the bullet with its wing. By seeing the dragon blocking the bullet, the leader gets nervous and starts to shoot continuously. Okita then turned towards the leader as the dragon was blocking all the bullets. As he looks on the leader, he can see the status of the leader and also can see the next move of the leader. From this ability, he was able to know the plan of the leader and acts accordingly to save himself and make the leader dance in his own plums. He then ordered the dragon to attack, and the dragon does so. The attack landed on his hand, and the handgun has fallen away from his hand. The dragon then launched its second attack. By seeing this, the leader steps backwards and stands in front of the wall. The attack did harm him as the attack landed 1 centimeter above his shoulder. The dragon then attacks continuously, but none of the attacks hit him. The leader kneels down and places his hands over his hand and shouts for helping him. Okita then looks at the status of the leader and see that he has lost his will to fight. After seeing this, Okita told the dragon to stop, and he tells the leader that now his existence doesn't matter to him. He also warns him that from today onwards, if he dare to direct any killing intent towards him, he will kill him immediately. From this display of Okita's power, the leader gets so scared that he pees in his pants. As Okita sees this, he puts a smile in his face and told the leader not to be so frightened, and as an apology gift, Okita gives him the rare Mama Stone that he got from the dungeon boss. Okita then tells the leader to submit the dungeon clearance report to the company, and after that he takes his leave to start a brand new life of his. Then we can see on the next day in the Clearwater headquarters, as Okita declares to everyone that he is quitting the company. Some girls comes to him and try to convince him not to quite. These 2 girls are Okita's senior. They works in the General Affairs Department. Their work is to support the Awakeners. As Okita looks at their status, he gets that both of them are C-rank Awakeners, which is much higher than his rank. But Okita was so confused, as these high-ranked Awakeners are being so nice to him. The girls asked him what he will do after he quit this company. Okita replied that he will be raiding dungeons solely. As the surrounded employees hear this, they makes fun of him and says that what nice joke it is, that a F-rank Awakener can solo a dungeon. Then a boy named Nakamura-kun and an old man named Terui-san comes to him and also try to convince him. Okita now can see everybody's status, and from his, he can easily say whether a person is truly concerned about him or not. He then looks at the status of Terui-san and Nakamura-kun and finds that they both are F-rank and are truly concerned about him. He now feels a little bit bad for these guys. As he was talking to them, he feels a dominating pressure from his back, and as he turns his head, he saw the director Serizawa. As he tried to look at his status, a red panel appears and said that it is unidentified. After seeing this, Okita thinks that the rank of the director above an A rank. Okita, who is the lowest F-rank Awakener, got his luck schnee in his first dungeon raid, and he gained many abilities. The first one is the ability to limitlessly use the gate carbs Awakeners can originally only use. One at a time, this ability is alone, holds the power to make an Awakener invincible. The second thing that he got is that the numerous extremely powerful rare cards he obtained that can pulverize a dungeon boss with a single attack. And finally, the eyes that allow him to see through his opponent's skills, abilities, and actions. This is the ability that helps Okita survive evil plan of the party leader, although he should have obtained a power that would greatly surpass those rank awakeners. But even with this powers, he cannot see the status of the director. This means the director Serizawa holds even more powers that his ability can handle. The director comes and stops the girls and starts to talk with Okita. At first, he greets Okita and introduces himself and said that though Okita is affiliated with his team, they didn't have a direct conversation. Director Serizawa is the most capable person in the Clearwater Company. He also best fit as a leader as he has, raises up the performance of many Awakeners team. There are countless A-rank Awakeners like Tyra and the others who are his subordinates. He doesn't usually personally appear on site or manage Awakeners. He also got some contacts in government and has a good relationship with the Prime Minister. And there are also rumors about him that his ability is much stronger than his communication skills. The director then speaks up and said that he didn't come to stop him, but he rather wants to hear the reason of him quitting this company, which is the best in this line. Okita then says that, as a low-ranked awakener in this Clearwater Company, he has to deal with a lot of indignation. By hearing this, all the girls get scared, and the director replied that he didn't think he had a subordinate who could express their opinions so boldly, and also said that he wished he knew this before he quit. The director then says sorry to Okita for interrupting him, and says that he hopes that he achieves success through his efforts after leaving this company. The director also gives him a little bit warning. That is, if he gets in the way of the company, he will completely crash him. After that, the director takes his leave. Noguchi, the lady, and Tyra was also present there. Noguchi tells that what's the fuss, as Okita is quitting, which is a mere F-rank awakener. Noguchi then asks Tyra who he defeated the dungeon boss, while all of them were unconscious. By hearing this, Tyra gets angry and starts to leave quickly. After that, Okita gets out of the building, and he was thinking that where he would get a free dungeon, which he can clear alone. He then looks front and see an old man asking other to help him, but no one is hearing him. Then, as he sees Okita getting out of the building, he rushes towards Okita and asked him if he is an awakener. Okita says yes. Getting the reply from Okita, the old man holds Okita's hand and begs him to clear his dungeon. After hearing this request of the old man, Okita takes the old man to a cafe to hear more about his situation in details. As they sit in the cafe, the old man introduces himself. His name is Matsuda. Okita also looks at the old man's status and see that this man is not an awakener, and hence he has no skills. Old man Matsuda then says to Okita that his building has been dungeonized, and he wants Okita to clear it for him. After hearing this, Okita asked why he is not hiring any other high-ranked awakener from a reputable company. Old man Matsuda replied that he does not have enough money to pay a large company like the Clearwater. Okita then questioned that didn't free awakeners dispatched by the government come to deal with it. The old man replied that those guys are no good. They only want to extort money and have no intention of actually clearing the dungeon. And this is already his 4th time that he has wasted his million of yuan. Just with the retainer fees, although large corporations use their full power to clear high-reward buildings like skyscrapers and power plants. But places like community buildings and small apartments are lower on the priority list for clearing, meaning the paid rewards are also lower. Therefore, large corporations don't dispatch awakeners there. So because of that, people like Matsuda-san have no choice but to rely on awakeners of inferior quality. Okita then looks at the depressed face of old Matsuda and have many thoughts in his heart. Old man Matsuda then says to Okita that he knows that it will be a trouble for Okita to dive into a dungeon without informing his company, but he has no choice to directly ask. An awakener from a large corporations like clear water. By hearing the word of old Matsuda Okita says that he has recently quit the Clear Water Company, and he is also looking for a dungeon to test his skills in as a free awakener. He also says that he didn't need a retainer fee, and he requests old Matsuda to give him the dungeon. Matsuda gets so surprised by Okita's word that he stood up from the sofa. Okita raises his hand to the old man and introduces himself. And by shaking the hand of old Matsuda, he told him to show the way of the dungeon. After that, they went to the Matsuda-san's building. As they arrive there, they see Saki, who is the granddaughter of Matsuda-san. She was arguing with two awakeners who has come to take the retainer fees. Saki knows that these awakeners are frauds who will take the retainer fees and run away. So she takes out her phone and starts to record so that she can expose them. As the awakeners see Saki recording them, they quickly hide their face and run away. As Okita and Matsuda-san was seeing this, they run towards Saki and asked her if she is okay. Saki said that she is completed fine, and as she see Okita standing beside his grandfather, she asked her grandfather about this man. The grandfather then introduces Okita to her and said that Okita will be clearing this dungeon, and he will also not take any retainer fees. By hearing this, Saki stares at Okita and asked him to show her his Awakener registration card. Okita then shows her his card. By seeing Okita's card, Saki gets shocked as she sees the rank of Okita, which is F. She tells her grandfather that Okita eyed the lowest-ranked Awakener and asked him if it will be all right to let him raid the dungeon. Okita hears her words and tells her that he is also looking for a dungeon to test out his skill, and he ensures her that he will not be a burden to old Matsuda. By hearing Okita's words, Saki gets impressed and said that, as her grandfather says, it's fine, so she didn't mind it anymore. She then hand over Okita a tablet, which has information about the dungeon. Okita takes it and says to leave the dungeon to him, as he will be returning shortly. After saying this, he gets inside the dungeon. As he enters the dungeon, the blue panel appears. He then looks the surrounding and was amazed to see that how big it is. As he is walking in the dungeon, the blue panel again appears and said that there are monsters around him. Okita was impressed to see this function of the system, which can automatically detect monsters. Okita then finds that its abilities didn't stop here. It also shows Okita the location of all the monsters in the first floor, and also gives him a detail of all the numbers of each type of monsters. By seeing this, Okita gets excited and brings out all the cards from his card holder. He then chooses the Vortex of Raging Flames card. As he activates it, a giant flame skeleton appears. Okita then orders the giant skeleton to burn all the goblins into ashes. The giant skeleton attacks, and a tornado of flame appears, which burns all the goblins. The confirmation of the death message appears. Other message also appears, which says that the rank of the Vortex of Flame card increases, and Okita has also got a new title, Master of Flames. After that, Okita feels a bit difficulty in breathing. At that time, an alert message appears, which says that there is a very low concentration of oxygen in the dungeon, and it was making hindrance in his survival. Okita is running low of oxygen as the flame attack of giant skeleton finish all the oxygen.
Okita gets anxious. He needs to act quickly, or else he will die. So he summons another card. Okita thinks, will this card work? Without giving it much thought, he draws the card and summons what appears to be a snow woman. Understanding the situation, she blows out some chilling air. Okita is still unsure if this will help regenerate oxygen on this floor or not. But due to the lack of oxygen, his hands and feet start to go numb. Soon enough, the system informs him that the floor's air is returning to normal. Okita's life is finally saved. As he reflects on the situation, it becomes clear that the card's power regenerated the oxygen. If he had used the wrong card, he would have died. He almost lost his life because of his own card, but he was able to survive because of one too. Each of these cards is incredibly powerful. It's like using a detonator to hunt rats, he thinks. Okita wonders where he got this system and all these cards. Back at that place, he could use the cards effortlessly, and his mana didn't get affected. But out here, things are different. Okita understands that he can't continue using cards without careful consideration. Gaining newfound confidence, Okita begins collecting the mana stones dropped by the goblins. As he picks up the stones, his mana slowly recovers. Outside the dungeon, the old man and Saki are waiting. Suddenly, Saki says, "Grandpa, let's go." I heard that if the strategy for clearing a dungeon is too weak, it might even take a few days. If you stay outside, you'll catch a cold. The old man replies, "No need to worry about me, Saki. Okita-kun is risking his life for me. The least I can do is wait." Saki knows that no matter how much she insists, he won't listen. So, she says, "I'll stay with you until it gets dark. For now, I'll go buy something at the convenience store." Inside the dungeon, the system alerts Okita as soon as it detects monsters. There are about 29 goblins on this floor, a higher count than the previous one. He could sweep them all away with a single ranged attack. But as an apology for using 2 cards earlier, he decides to use a magic skill card instead of a summoning type card this time. The goblin horde approaches Okita from behind, so he quickly draws his magic missile master card and launches multiple missiles toward them. Each missile hits a goblin, defeating many one by one. However, Okita soon runs out of mana, and some goblins are still left. With no other choice, he uses his remaining mana, ignoring the system's constant warnings. Luckily, his little mana is enough to defeat the rest of the goblins. The system notifies him that his magic missile card has ranked up, and he has gained a new title, Shooter of Magic Missile. Okita sits on the ground, deep in thought. He's glad he managed to defeat the goblins before running out of mana. Does this mean my skills aren't enough to use this card? He wonders. He only used the gate cards 3 times, and it already drained his mana. He realizes that the card's mana consumption is highly inefficient. Still, it automatically shot down all the goblins on this floor without missing a single one. It performed really well. Resolving to continue, Okita begins collecting the mana stones again. Although the goblin's mana stones help restore a bit of mana, he knows that if he doesn't switch to a card with lower mana consumption, he won't make it to the boss. He thinks, is there a card that doesn't use ranged attacks? The thought of warrior or swordsman type cards comes to his mind, but memories of his old comrades who betrayed him make him hesitate. They used the same type of cards. Reluctantly, he draws a swordsman-type card. The card summons a cerulean swordsman, Harigana Shkakenboofer. As soon as she appears, she demonstrates her abilities by cutting and stabbing the mana stones, showing her capability in front of her master. Okita is impressed. This is the perfect card I imagined, he thinks. As he moves to the next floor, another horde of monsters appears. Okita commands the swordsman to finish them. The water attribute swordsman uses her skill diligently, eliminating all the goblins with a single swing. Okita is thoroughly impressed with her skill, and the card ranks up once again. As he had hoped, this card consumes less mana. If things continue this way, the mana stones from the goblins should be enough to sustain him. Okita is motivated and decides to unleash the full potential of his card's abilities while rushing upward. He reaches the 4th floor and clears it effortlessly. Once again, his card ranks up, and he acquires the title Sword Swing, Introductory Catalog. The 5th floor is also cleared with ease. This time, not only does his card rank up, but he also receives a new skill. Okita and the cerulean swordsman swiftly clear the 6th and 7th floors. However, on the 8th floor, they encounter a new type of monster, hobgoblins rank D. These shielded monsters, though intimidating, are quickly defeated by the samurai, making them seem like a joke. Finally, they reach the 9th floor, where the boss awaits. For most hunters, it takes an entire day to reach this point. The system provides information about the dungeon boss, King Goblin, rank C. The King Goblin attempts to activate its skill, Fainting Roar, but before it can complete the move, its head is swiftly chopped off by the samurai. The fight is over in an instant, and the dungeon is cleared. Even while soloing, Okita found it to be a piece of cake, despite nearly dying earlier due to his own mistake. Still, the card's ability to grow stronger with use fascinates him. He's never heard of such a phenomenon before, and he's excited to see how much stronger this card can become. When Okita exits the building, Matsuda and Saki are shocked. Saki, surprised, asks, "Isn't this too soon?" She turns to her grandfather and says, "Didn't he just enter the dungeon?" Matsuda nods, replying, "Yeah, it's only been about an hour." Matsuda, feeling dejected, assumes Okita must have given up. Saki tries to cheer up her disheartened grandfather by saying, "Well, he was only an F rank after all." But Matsuda appreciates Okita's effort and thanks him for trying so hard. He then admits, "Unfortunately, I'll have to close my business." Okita slowly responds, "Actually, I already cleared the dungeon." Both Matsuda and Saki are stunned. Saki shouts, "You were only in there for an hour. I thought you were deceiving Grandpa." Meanwhile, Matsuda runs to check for himself. Breathing heavily, he exclaims, "The dungeon is gone!" This leaves Saki speechless. Matsuda praises Okita, saying, "You're amazing, our savior. How did you do it? Did you really do it alone? Are you someone who can clear a dungeon by yourself?" Okita, hiding the truth, responds modestly, "You could say it was a coincidence, a good match for this dungeon." After completing his task, Okita prepares to leave, but Matsuda stops him. "Why don't you try earning a little more?" he suggests. Surprised, Okita asks, "What do you mean?" Matsuda explains, "There's another dungeon I'd like you to clear." Okita questions, "Isn't this building the one you put your whole life into?" Matsuda chuckles, "I never said I put my whole life into just one building." He then leads Okita toward another location. Before they can proceed, Saki stops her grandfather, calling him out for being too brazen. "First, we need to thank him properly." She thanks Okita and apologizes for how overbearing her grandfather can be. Okita responds, "It's not a problem. This is a win-win situation for both of us. I can collect mana stones in the dungeon, so you're actually the ones helping me." Matsuda, fully motivated, urges Okita to head to the next dungeon quickly. Okita, eager to test his card's new powers, agrees. But just then, Okita's stomach growls loudly. Saki laughs and asks, "Are you hungry?" Without waiting for an answer, she grabs his hand and drags him to their house, determined to treat him to a meal. She asks, "Is there anything you don't like?" After Okita answers, she serves him food, while Matsuda happily shares a drink with him. Okita, feeling out of place, thinks, "What kind of situation is this?" As thanks for clearing the dungeon, Matsuda-san has invited him to his house, and Saki-chan seems oddly enthusiastic about making dinner for him. Okita praises her cooking, then asks curiously, "This might be a little abrupt, but I'm curious. Are you two living together?" Matsuda explains, "Saki's parents, my son and his wife, were assigned overseas, but because of the Tokyo airport being dungeonized, they couldn't return to Japan. That's why Saki is living with me. The dungeonization of the Tokyo airport has had a tremendous effect on overseas travel. Since I lived alone, having Saki here has been a blessing." Okita shares, "I have a mother and a little sister, but I haven't been able to see them for a while now." Saki asks, "So you're living alone?" Matsuda laughs and adds, "Why don't you stay the night at our place then?" Saki says, "Grandpa, that would be troubling Okita-san." Later that night, while walking home, Okita reflects on Matsuda-san and Saki-chan's close family bond. This once again makes him realize that by clearing dungeons, he can save families like theirs. Remembering his own family, he calls his mom and says, "I quit my job at the company today. I'm fine. I'm thinking of freelancing for the time being." The next day, they arrive at Matsuda's third building. Okita is a little surprised to see Saki-chan there since she's usually at school during this time. She says, "I'll be heading to school now, but Okita-kun, since you said you're living alone." She hands him a lunchbox and quickly runs off. Matsuda, overhearing, chuckles, "She woke up early just to make that." Realizing it's a bento, Okita thinks, is a dungeon really a place to eat a bento? With renewed motivation, Okita enters the dungeon to clear it. The monsters in this dungeon are also primarily goblins. The interior looks similar to the dungeon from yesterday. They still haven't figured out how dungeons appear yet. Previously, the government tried to predict dungeon appearances, but their efforts were unsuccessful. The only thing they've discovered is that the larger the original facility, the larger the dungeon that spawns from it, and in larger dungeons, stronger monsters appear. Judging by the scale of this building, the boss should be on the same level as yesterday's dungeon. Okita decides to use this opportunity to thoroughly test the abilities of his now stronger cards. He summons the samurai card once more. Observing the scattered goblins, he realizes he can't attack them all at once. Is there a better way to take them down? He wonders. Just as he thinks this, a new skill emerges in his mind. The samurai unleashes a skill called Blade Trace, Circle of the Moon, a 360-degree high-speed slashing attack. The goblins are cut down, along with the rocks they were hiding behind. Okita marvels. This is insane. I can automatically recall such an incredible skill. He clears the second, third, fourth, and fifth floors with ease. On the sixth floor, he encounters spear-wielding goblins. They hurl their spears at Okita, but the samurai uses a defensive sword technique to destroy the spears and finishes them off with another newly acquired attack skill. The attack devastates the dungeon area. To Okita's surprise, the samurai card continues to rank up. He's amazed and wonders, how far can this card rank up? He recalls the general rules about gate cards. Only awakeners can use them. They require mana to summon the beings sealed inside. Each card holds only one sealed being, with one fixed skill type. Due to interference between cards, an awakener can only use one or two cards at most. This limitation means awakeners typically team up with others whose cards complement their own. Additionally, certain monsters are immune to specific card types, necessitating teamwork to defeat them. However, the power Okita obtained ignores these rules entirely. His cards not only grow stronger but also unlock multiple skills, something unheard of. Cards like his shouldn't exist. He thinks, these cards make clearing dungeons a breeze. But what if a dungeon appears that even these cards can't handle? At the 7th floor, Okita encounters the boss, a C-rank monster, higher than yesterday's boss. He wonders, do buildings of similar scale spawn similar types of monsters? Since the boss is still far away, Okita opts for a ranged attack. Summoning the samurai, he commands, "Unleash thunder from your sheath, divine speed sword draw." The attack is an instant kill, even from a distance. Okita grins. To think such amazing cards and skills are mine. After defeating the boss, he exits the building and presents the boss's mana stone as proof of clearing the dungeon. Matsuda, overjoyed, optimistically runs toward the next building. Okita tries to stop him, saying, "Hold on, I want to eat the bento Saki-chan made for me." Okita continued clearing dungeons one after another. Over the next 3 days, he successfully cleared all the dungeonized buildings owned by Matsuda-san. In total, 8 buildings were cleared by Okita. After his hard work, he found himself surrounded by Matsuda and Saki at the dining table. He hadn't imagined he would ever feel so fulfilled again, especially after being treated like he was disposable in the past. Matsuda praised him, saying, "Thanks to you, Many of the stores in those buildings can finally reopen. You're not just my savior. You've helped countless people. Okita replied humbly, "It's not that big of a deal. I was merely doing my job as an awakener." Matsuda then said, "What do you think about living at my house for the time being?" "I feel like I haven't thanked you enough. I think Saki would also be delighted." Okita smiled and said, "After meeting the two of you, I've realized something important again. There are many people in this world suffering from unseen disparities and discrimination. As an awakener, it's my duty to help those people. That's why I want to clear the next dungeon as soon as possible, for their sake." Matsuda nodded solemnly. "That's how it should be. I'm sorry for holding you back. I'll pray for your luck in battle, Okita-kun." With that, Okita bid them farewell. Later that day, Saki came home from school earlier than usual. Anxiously, she asked, "What about Okita-kun? Where is he?" Her grandfather replied, "I just saw Okita-kun off. As an awakener, he has to travel continuously to protect people." Saki looked down, her expression uncertain. "Do you think we'll meet him again?" Matsuda placed a comforting hand on her shoulder and said, "I hope so, Saki." Brave people like him are always drawn back to those who believe in them.